Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It's been a long time. It's Thanksgiving, last show we did.
Right before Thanksgiving, right?
Wow, yeah.
So much has changed, too. 1 month is a big change in a month.
Absolutely. And Chipsters, we appreciate your patience with us. You know, starting 2026, we're so excited. Yeah. It's going to be regular shows every week. Right?
We're going to hit the ground running. Yeah, you'll see. There's a lot of really exciting stuff going on in the background. Just like all these other podcasts, I'm sure that's going on nationwide. You know, this country is going through radical changes right now, and it needs us now more than ever. It needs people like us, me, Alice, like you guys who watch the show, to get involved and start working these institutions that have been just not so good for society for a long time.
It's true. And, you know, it's like the magic of the podcast now, the modern day podcast. Anybody virtually could do one, okay? But you find one with good sources and good information, like that's what I point to Zeke for, yeah. Because he really does. He's been in cruises. He's been here all his life. I just came back a few years ago. I feel still like I'm a novice and learning the politics of the way this small community in the state of New Mexico works. So we hope that you choose us, and many people have. I've got a lot of good response out there. I know you have too, Zeke.
Yeah, it's pretty mind blowing. You know, I love doing this just because I know that this is information, it needs to get out there. And over time, it will change the culture in the community. I just didn't expect to do it the way that it is. Like most of my conversations are, you know, because I do a lot of business too, marketing. If it's in politics, are revolved around social media, this show, and just the support that we've gotten from this show. And it doesn't seem like we have that many followers. I know, I'll say it, we don't have that many. We don't even have 500 subscribers on YouTube yet.
I know, and even like I'm looking here at our Facebook page, we have 418 followers, and I know there are more people that follow us.
Right. Our Instagram's doing really good though. Shout out to Chips and Salt's Instagram, always does good. My personal Facebook does good. Her personal Facebook does good. So it's everything together. I think really helps. And look, it's for you guys. I'm telling you this because I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. Don't be afraid to reach out to us. Don't be afraid to, you know, if you want to get on the show, we'll talk about you becoming a guest on the show. If it inspires you to get involved in politics, then boom, we win. You know, we win. So either way, we hadn't seen you guys in a month. We had to go down a monthly podcast because we got a lot of other stuff we're developing right now in the background, but it's going to be well worth the wait. Trust me, guys. You just hold your horses. And so there's a lot to catch up on. And I always like to ask Alex, you know, we missed the whole month, and there's so much things that we can talk about. You know, for Marjorie Taylor Greene, yeah. You know, we just had the whole thing with Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. I mean, there's so many things to cover, but what's on your head first?
There are so many things. And what I do want to talk about, to me, and this has kind of been stewing for a while, but evidently Bongino is leaving. He's out of there, okay?
Yep.
And here's the thing, too. There's so many things that happen, and if you want to follow the conspiracies, I mean, that's a full-time job. You really could. I am thinking, because I think he has more power behind the mic.
Yeah.
He can go back to his podcast, speaking of podcasts, and he still will have all the followers, and now he's had the experience of having been within the administration and operating there. So I think it's actually going to be a good thing. And who knows, maybe it was encouraged by the president. We just don't know. There's so many things, and we just don't know, and we may never get to know. It could be all a guess. But I think that I look forward, because I really liked his podcasts. I really did.
Well, I didn't realize, I just learned right now that he actually owns 6% of Rumble. You know,
I didn't know that.
His podcast was so popular that Rumble offered him a part ownership into Rumble. And so, you know, I've been studying the whole thing for quite a while. I like Dan Bongino, although I was never really a fan of his show. I did see a lot of his clips, and I've heard a lot of being interviewed on a lot of other shows that I watch. And
yes.
I obviously like what I see. The guy's an America First dude, highly intelligent, got experience. I personally think that he got into that FBI, and it's just, you know what I really miss? I miss Vivek Ramaswamy, because his whole thing was just get rid of the FBI. Remember that?
He did. He just wanted to obliterate it.
Yeah.
You're right.
And and you know what? JFK felt the same way about the CIA back in the 60s, you know? So I just think that those institutions, specifically the CIA and FBI, are even worse than even JFK's time. And I wish everybody would get more like Vivek Ramaswamy and just realize that sometimes you just got to cut your losses. I think it's just, and I just got to listen to an interview today where it's just people from the inside who left, who got fired for whatever reason. They're just like, look, it's bad from the inside out. I think that they should just get rid of the FBI. Make a new one that does what it's supposed to do. Yeah. Make a new, institution that does what it's supposed to do. But I think Dan left because he had nothing. He couldn't do anything.
restructure is the key if they could do it. And maybe he got in there and he said, you know what, we can't. There's just too much. We just can't do it. But there's always hope for the future. I really think that way. And talking about the future, sorry about that, guys. The buzz. I do have a buzz. I probably have it on loud buzz. I listened to I watched on Rumble, the first night of America Fest. This is the first time I think I've been to the last 3 America Fests. And last year, you and I went.
Yeah, I went to my first one.
This year, Chips and Salsa did not have a presence, unfortunately. Things were just too hectic and crazy. And it may be a good thing that we didn't go. I don't know. I did hear from people and they said, oh, Allison went down Media Row. We didn't see you guys. And thank you. We appreciate being missed. We really do. But did you watch the first night?
I didn't. No.
Okay. Well, that's when they had Ben Shapiro and Tucker.
Oh, I saw clips of it.
You probably saw clips of it.
Yeah.
And so I turned it on. I was watching on Rumble. And anymore, like you say, you really don't even watch the podcast. You kind of listen to them, and it was the video, although that was a live presentation. The commentary, because I'm always interested in the commentary that was on there.
Everybody is.
Wow.
Jump on the comments.
It's basically, I bet about 75% of what I saw was basically F the Jews. F the Jews and not kind things about Ben Shapiro, not. And you know what? I don't follow that story. You're the one that knows more about that. And so I rely on you to keep up with the things that are happening with that. But my God, it wasn't something that normally you would see come out of America Fest. But even though they're young people, I know young people use the F word more frequently. They don't think about it like us old boomers. Yeah. But it was so much of it. It was not America Fest like. How do you like that in York?
No, it's a totally different spirit this year. I saw that too. I saw the vitriol, and I don't like Ben Shapiro. I've never been a fan of his. It's just something about him. And I understand why people's frustrated with the whole thing, how they run our government. They have a lot of influence over our House representatives, and they've had a lot of influence for a long time, guys. This is decades old control that we've given them that the Trump administration now has to deal with. But my problem with that is obviously there's things that the Jewish government does that have not favored American policy or America First agendas, and just like most other governments, guys, they're corrupt too. Our government's corrupt. Look at all the horrible things the Obama administration did. That Joe Biden wasn't even president for the last 4 years. His pen was. Okay, so we can't discredit fully that there could be good people that are Jewish. Obviously, there's good Jewish people out there, good people from Israel, and we should definitely call out Israel for being corrupt when it is corrupt. But guys, we got the Chinese over here like crazy, okay? We got the Islam invasion coming our way right now. We also have the stay-behind networks within our own party, within the Democrat Party, and just we have so many enemies. It's not smart to focus on one particular culture or government when it's a multifaceted approach. We have to look at all the corruption within ourselves, within other countries, all of our enemies. So my only issue with the whole Jewish thing is that people get too focused on it. There's so much more to this political world than just Israel. And so, what Ben Shapiro got, he got all that vitriol and hate towards Jewish people, which I don't fully agree with. I think it's kind of unfounded. We have bigger problems. And he did say a lot of things that got himself into trouble. I think people are going to see in the near future that he's a bad dude, and nobody really needs to be listening to that guy anymore. He just spews out lies, and he has his own agenda, and it's not for us. It's not for us.
Wow, okay. I got to meet Ben Shapiro a long time ago in Phoenix. He came to speak. It was for the Young Republicans, in fact. Yeah. And he was a young Republican. I think he and his wife were just pregnant or everything. And what I liked about him, he was a good conservative debater. Okay, he was like a prehistoric Charlie Kirk. Seriously.
True, that's a good point.
If you went back. He really was. He's very smart. Mm-hmm. He is a fast thinker, and I respected that. And a little quick story. So it was on a Saturday night. And I wanted to take a photo, right? Obviously, we're there, you meet someone like that. And he couldn't do it. He says, I'm sorry, I can't do it because Saturday is, they're Jewish, so that's their holy day, whatever. Yeah, okay. I respect that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's whatever.
So I don't feel as strongly as you do about him. But then again, I admit that I don't follow all of that. But I didn't get to experience the rest of America Fest. It was just the first night. There are some people that went, like our good friend Gabby Heather Mercer went, and Debbie Schultz, who was with us last year.
That's right.
So maybe we'll get a little report from them. a lot going on. I know I saw a report they were having protesters there, but that's not unusual for anything.
No, yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, I have hopes for Turning Point USA. I want it to be successful. I think they just have some really big challenges. And it's too bad because we really need that. For me, that's always the hope of getting the young people involved. Because you remember being there last year and about, 60% of the people who were there were under 30, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts? I want it to be successful, but at the same time, it's got to be factual.
Yeah, with Ben Shapiro, I mean, do you think, I remember, I had the same impression with him when I first got involved in politics. I was like, this guy's real smart, he's a real sharp dude, but had you noticed that he'd gotten, he's not as sharp as he used to be? Like at the TPUSA interview yesterday, he was kind of reading off of script real hard. He wasn't very as witty and sharp as I'd seen him in the past. Have you noticed anything like that different?
In all honesty, I haven't been following him that much, so I couldn't tell you. And then I was listening and not watching. Okay. But that's interesting. He's never had to do that. This is a guy, like I say, to me, he'd be just like Charlie Kirk. He doesn't need that. He's got it all up here.
Exactly. That's what I thought about him too. But he was going off a script the whole time, and he seemed real nervous. He didn't take the questions very well. Obviously, he had a really, rough question from the audience. For those of you who saw that, but beyond that, I don't really like what's going on with him. Calling out Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and really what his main issue is that if you go anything against Israel, you're off the team. You shouldn't be an American. You have no reason being a Republican or a conservative, and you should basically just fall off the earth and die. And that's his mentality. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's a bad thing. He was also throwing Alex Jones under the bus, and all Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones say is basically what I just said. I'm kind of echoing what they say, and on reason, I agree with them. Israel obviously has problems. They've done some horrible, corrupt things. We need to acknowledge that, and we need to also consider all the other enemies that we have in this country. And we shouldn't be just unilaterally looking at Israel because it's not just Israel that's been screwing over this country, guys. It's more of the infiltrators. It's more of other things, the communists, the Chi-Coms for what have you. And the whole thing with Candace Owens, I wanted to say that too, is like the same thing. Like she's splintering the conservative movement, throwing people under the bus, saying things that aren't necessarily factual, that makes her look bad. It discredits a lot of the conservatives. And I see Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens just, whether she's being influenced by someone else or not, I think Ben Shapiro obviously is. I think, they are just splintering the party up, conservative movement up, and they're destroying TPUSA right now. And I don't think it's going to stick. I think that we're going to wake up to that because we're all such in sync now these days. But I'll tell you guys right now, I think those two are not doing good things right now. I think that we need to accept our differences and really focus on the midterms. I think we cannot lose the House this year at all. We got a lot of big elections here in New Mexico coming up with the gubernatorial. We got a sheriff coming up. These are things that we need to be focusing on. We don't need to be focusing on infighting and all of this obviously not America First agenda stuff.
And how do we take this? Because here's the thing. It's not like the Republican Party versus the Democrat Party. The Democrats, they stick together, man. They got a mission, and it doesn't matter. They stick together. And Republicans, we don't. But I see that kind of as a positive thing because we have a mind of our own. So if we see something and we don't agree with it or we find out some information, we're going to challenge it. So how do we take this? We need to take this division, a difference of opinion, and just kind of make it work for us. And there's somehow we can do that.
No, that's a great way to look at things, and I agree with that. I mean, you got Nick Fuentes out there too, who used to be a lot more divisive, but he's actually started to come around lately now. He's more understanding of Trump, doing better stuff on the border. He's a lot less critical of Trump on certain things. But at the end of the day, it's all going to boil down to us getting more engaged, guys. We saw with President Trump getting in there. Okay, he's in there, but there's basically a mutiny on the ship. All these institutions have stay-behind networks. They're not listening to him at all. They still haven't released the Epstein files. So all that tells us is that we have to do more as a people. We have to get more involved in politics. We have to do more podcasts. You have to share this podcast, like this post. You got to do more because they need our help. It's literally because they need our help. And I see that being a big mantra for the Trump campaign next year. We got to do more. And I'll tell you guys right now, we do all need to do more. But to take what they're doing, all that divisive stuff, and find a common goal, I think that's the president's job. I think if he was as savvy as we know he is, and that's the reason why we voted for him, want to get him in there, I think he'll take this mess, and I think he's really going to launch us into a whole new optimistic future with the conservatives. Is it going to be painful? Yeah, it's going to be painful, guys. This has been a long, decades-long, centuries-long battle, and it ain't going to just go away so quickly. There's going to be a lot of uncomfortable truths that we're all going to have to deal with. And there's a lot of us are gonna have to get our hands dirty, even if you didn't think you needed to. I'm telling you guys right now, if you're listening to me, you're gonna need to get your hands dirty. I don't mean to do anything illegal. Actually, quite the opposite. You need to stand up for truth. You need to hold people accountable. You need to do the right thing. You need to pray more. That's what I'm asking you to do. But that to answer your question, I think President Trump will find a cohesive message for us to get behind. The elections, for instance, I don't know. Have you heard about anything with the election integrity stuff coming out here in the next month?
No, I really haven't.
Okay. Oh, that's good. A lot of people, they bury this stuff. A lot of people haven't, but yeah.
I know I saw a story about 300,000 ballots, and I can't remember exactly what state it was in. But there is a lot of stuff that's been uncovered. But you can't, it's very difficult, even in this modern day and age, to hit every story and know what things are. And you and I are hardcore political junkies.
Yeah.
I mean, we really are. And we try to bring you the things that are the most important. But that is one thing, because until we get that taken care of, especially in states like New Mexico, there's just, even if we have the best candidates and we overwhelm, it's still difficult to win races. And we cannot continue. This state can't survive another 5-10 years under these political implications. I mean, I really don't think it can.
Yeah, we're getting squeezed dry here. And so, in a nutshell, if you guys don't know who Mike Lindell is, Mike Lindell was a big hardcore business guy, the My Pillow founder.
The Pillow guy, yeah.
I studied him back in my master's in business because he was a crackhead. He was all the way.
That's right. He talked about that
up until his late 40s.
Didn't you write a book?
Yeah, he wrote a book about it. Up until I think it was his late 40s. Even he had lost all of his bar. He owned several bars. He lost them all. Went bankrupt. He ended up getting kept the house. And him and his son, when he hit rock bottom, had innovated a pillow, and he had found God at the same time too. And so, with God and his son and that pillow invention, they were able to make a $100 million company. He's lost that $100 million so far, and My Pillow is still open, but it's now basically employee owned, and he's now running for governor of Wisconsin, right? With Tim Walz. Who's Governor Tim Walz of
Minnesota?
Minnesota, excuse me. He's now running for governor of Minnesota, and he actually had lost all that money because he had invested into election integrity. Suing the owner of the machines, doing investigative work, and they always come after you when you score up for election integrity. And what he found is that a couple of things. Number one, they were able to actually speculate based on Florida's numbers what the rest of the country would look like. Should they get rid of the machines? Should they get rid of mail-in ballots? Basically, the mask is off. And he's found with the numbers that this country, by and large, is at least 60% or more conservative. So there are no such things.
60, not 50, 60.
Way over. Vast majority, you can say. Vast majority.
I believe it.
And so there are no blue states. There are no blue cities. The cheating has been, rife since for 20 years. We've had, and this is all going to come out next month. He said it, and other high-level people said that next month President Trump's going to be releasing all this stuff, like for California, how they steal California's elections. The 38 million ballots are shipped out. They can come back in.
Everything's mail in California, right?
No accountability.
You can't even walk to the polls, I think. You have to do it by mail, which ripe for fraud.
And it's illegal to even ask for voter, to even try to show them your voter ID.
It's illegal to do.
It's illegal to even show them your ID. If you try to show them your ID, they will fine you and charge you.
Crazy, Cali. Wow.
So, that being said, guys, this is a very conservative state. New Mexico is a red state, especially down here in the South. Because of the Catholic Church, we have a lot of conservative family values here because of the agricultural community.
Conservative Latinos, too, even though they could be registered Democrat, and we know this even in Arizona because that was the case, too. But the culture, very conservative.
And so, even though everybody around here, especially, they want to act like, oh, well, we got to be careful what you say. Maybe you want to run as an independent, or you don't really want to say you're Republican because they're going to overpower you. Like, no, the reality is, and I believe this because I've seen them cheating. I've caught them cheating since 2018. I've seen these guys do shady things during the elections. You can say it's cheating or not. I'm saying that if they can't perform their legal duty, then yeah, why not? Why wouldn't it be cheating? Shouldn't we have voter ID? Isn't that a constitutional thing? Either way, I guess I don't want to get in trouble for saying that they're actually cheating because I don't want to be sued or anything. But I'll say they have not ran very solid elections since I've been involved. And that being said, this is a conservative area, guys. I get so much support, so many places that I go, and it's just like I've been with candidates, high level candidates. I ran campaigns myself. So there's so many people that support what we believe in, guys. It's obvious that there's something going on with the elections here. So that's coming out next month. That comes out. I don't see why people are so like, there's this sense of urgency coming out from Roger Stone and all these big names. It's like, dude, if we can fix these elections and make them fair, I don't think we have that much to worry about. But it's healthy to have a sense of urgency. So I get why they're doing that. I get why they're doing that.
We have to. And I really like the fact that you talk about become engaged, however you can do it. I know everyone's busy. We got things to do. You have personal stuff going on, families. Okay, but whatever you can do, if it's talking to a neighbor, if it's listening to this podcast once a week, send me your email, send me your phone number. I'll text it to you. I'll text you the link. Just become engaged. And also when someone starts bringing up politics and they start saying how much they hate Trump or whatever politician, but you know some information they probably don't know, and I'm not telling you to be nasty about it, but just inform, just like you would with anything else. Just like if you found something that worked for you as far as a product or a medication or I'm going to say an herbal supplement, okay? Stay away from that if you can. Stay away from medication if you can. Yeah. Then you would tell somebody about it. You'd want to encourage them, say, hey, you know what? This works for me. Here's what I found out about it. Check it out. At least you can check it out. And just think exponentially how much information that you can have out there. Especially, this is a small community still. We can do it so much more effectively, don't you think, Zeke?
Oh, yeah. It's the fact that this is a small state. And we talk about this all the time, too. I mean, it's like, man, there's such a little amount of people here. Like, we can really make a lot of moves a lot quicker than normally. You know what I mean? And it makes sense. Like, and that's why they're so threatened by people like us, because what we're doing is that much more powerful, right? We only got to hit X amount of people to make any real influence politically. Whereas, like, if you're in a bigger city, you got to hit 10, 20 times more that number, right?
And I'll tell you what, so I've been back about 3.5 years. And this election was very cool. But the bummer is not enough of you guys voted, okay? We only had 18% of the county voted. But this was like I felt I was back in Arizona because I was getting phone calls. Okay, what about this candidate, Alice? And what about that? Which means, and I know you got a ton of them as well too, and texts, because now we are an information source. And I don't like to tell people who to vote for, but I'll tell them why I would vote for them or I am voting for them, because usually I have some good background to tell them, or here's a source, go check this out and do that. So to become someone like that, like our, they don't call them precinct committeemen here, they call them, they're committeemen, right? Okay, for the different areas. Yep. And if you can get engaged and involved in your neighborhood alone even, then at least they'll have a resource, because people say, oh, I don't have the time to do that. Okay, I'm going to call Zeke because he'll know who's running for sheriff, or he'll know, who maybe I should check out. And I just can't encourage that enough. It's very powerful. It really is.
Yeah, I'll tell people who to vote for, sure. I'll just tell them. I mean, like, hey, I do know this stuff pretty well. I'm not saying I'm a freaking genius, but I do study this stuff intensely. Daily, I'd probably study this about 2 or 3 hours a day. And so if people ask me, I'll tell them. I'll give my opinion. A lot of people don't really like my opinion, but that's probably because they're Democrat. Hey, look, I love doing this. I love local politics. Things are turning quick, guys. I mean, there's just amazing stuff coming about next year. Like I said, we got the gubernatorial, Duke Rodriguez, Greg Hall, both great candidates. They're going to have to duke it out, for lack of a better term. There's a new sheriff candidate coming about. I'm not going to say their names yet, but he's a solid guy or girl. She. He's a solid she.
But it's not trans necessarily, okay?
Maybe she is. Maybe she isn't. But either way, you guys are going to be very impressed. Very, very impressed. And they're going to need our support. And the only way to really support guys is if you got to look at this like 1775, 1776. We're going through a huge change for humanity. And the people who founded this country, they kicked ass in business and they kicked ass as statesmen, okay? And that's because they didn't have a choice. You had to make money and tend the farm, and you had to fight for your civil liberties via God and the Constitution, or you lost it all.
It was survival mechanism. You're right. And that's kind of where we are now.
It is exactly where we are
is.
right now. The implications are even greater because we can lose this battle forever. There is no foreign land that hasn't been colonized yet that we can run to. You know what I mean? That's what America is. It's like we were able to run away from the British royalty and make our own country. We're out of space here, guys.
Yeah,
so
where'd you go?
We lose, we end up like Canada is right now, like Ireland is right now, like Australia, like France, and these countries are done for. Have you heard about what's going on over there? I mean, just the sensory, the speech. You can go to jail for life if you're a teacher in Ireland and you don't address the kids by their pronouns. You're going to put you in jail for life for that right now.
It's outrageous. It's really outrageous. And England, okay, we came from England, and England's form of government probably at that time was the most free. I'll say they were trying to have representation from a long time ago.
That's right.
But they're just going backwards. But what's happened in those countries also? The immigration.
Oh,
The bad immigration, the illegal immigration.
they got a hold of them early. They've been doing it for decades now, and they're about to take over. They've got Islam problems more than we do. We don't really have that big of an Islam problem. I think people want to get a little bit more like kind of hysterical about it. They want to get, but it's not as bad as it is in Europe. I mean, Europe is brutal, man. They're getting hammered right now.
And it's good that we're aware of it, because just like the Minnesota problems, all the fraud that they found with the I was going to say salami.
You hungry?
Somali population, not good. But what is that a problem of? Because the Biden administration let all those people in, and our administration here, the Trump administration, has been very good. Tom Homan, oh my God, he's amazing.
Love that guy.
He's amazing. I just saw it, and I know that I kept it here on my phone. I think I was watching Maria Bartiromo, and there's so many kids. They had 300,000 kids that they had lost track of.
Yeah.
And under this administration, Homan was reporting they have found over 100,000.
Yeah, I think it was 125 or something
Yes,
like that.
I think that's a more accurate figure.
Which is great.
I mean, why didn't that happen under the last administration? They didn't want it to happen. That's why. So this is just outrageous.
And that's a good point. And so they are arresting these people who are engaging in these child crimes, and they can't really publicize it because the kids are minors with a lot of legalities. And the news is just corrupt. They're not going to tell you this stuff.
Right.
But that doesn't, I understand why people are so frustrated with not many people going to jail. I'm frustrated with that too. But what you got to realize, guys, and this should really galvanize you and inspire you to get involved more than anything, is the fact that they haven't arrested as much people as that we all know that they should have been arrested by now. And the reason why they haven't is because it's that entrenched, guys. There's just that much corruption that we can't, it's over the top, okay? And I'm speaking from personal experience. And so you've got to get involved. There's got to be more people like us involved in these institutions to hold people accountable. There is so little of us in the government right now as it is that they couldn't arrest all these people. They have to do it in phases and stages, and they've already started. But again, we're running into problems with the DOJ. We have these horrible judges. And we've had this issue in the past. This is history repeating itself. I believe it was Andrew Jackson who had to deal with something similar, where they had to use martial law to go in there and actually enforce the law when these corrupt judges, weren't able to do it. President Bukele of El Salvador had to do the same thing. They had to bypass the corrupt judges and take their own country under their own control. Now, I'm not saying I want Trump to do that. And I'm not even certain that it was Andrew Jackson that did that. I'm just saying that where we're at politically in our country is something that we've been through before. And that's why the founding fathers are so brilliant. They told us how to deal with these types of insurrection acts. And I don't see any other way around this, guys, but next year is going to be ferocious, okay? There's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that's going to happen, because even last year was crazy. Even this year was crazy.
Well, this year, I mean, and your point is so well taken. And the founding fathers, they were brilliant. They really were. I think God gave them some special brilliance. He really did. And
True.
Just think, this administration hasn't even been there a year, okay? Not even a year. But if you went back and looked at all the things that have been accomplished, it's pretty amazing. Of course, I'm the same as you.
Yeah, I agree.
And a lot of people are. They're mad at Trump and, this guy should be in jail and we should be. Yeah, sure. He probably knows that too. But, I mean, gotta give him some time. There's just so much to work through. There really is.
It's going to be painful, guys. It's not going to be as easy as you think. And it's mostly our fault. Let's not blame Trump or anybody. We're the ones that got lazy. We're the ones that weren't engaged. We're the ones that let evil take over. And that's the fact. Go ahead.
Well, I kind of want to turn this into, I know we're doing national now, but also what happened last week is there was a hearing.
Go wherever you want.
Okay, cool. And it was about 5 Republican New Mexico state legislators. Uh-huh. And they had a juvenile justice hearing task force, I'll call it.
Okay.
Whatever. Did you see any of that?
No, I didn't hear about it.
Okay. Well, the cool thing is, and they had a lot of really good informational speakers, and our own Chief Story was there. And he did a great job. He was there and he was talking about how things were and problems. And then there was a Crusaders for Justice, which I've never heard of. Have you heard of them? No. Crusaders for Justice. They help. They're just amazing, and we will get them on the show next year. Man, our show's going to be fantastic. I already got a bunch of guests that we got to get on the show. But he got criticized by, I like to call Juan and say, your girlfriend Juan Garcia's girlfriend, Council.
You can insult me and Juan both together. Wow, thanks.
No, I'm going to call it's Juan's girlfriend because that's really his arch nemesis. It really is. And she was criticizing, and it may have been somebody. There was another gal that came to speak at the city council meeting and saying, how dare he speak to that? He shouldn't side with a Republican thing. Like it was too political. And I'm thinking, all he did, he never gave them kudos when he was talking to them there. He wasn't saying anything like that. He was giving them information, which we are totally entitled to as our community residents. And he's the chief of police. He would have been the best person to have there. That's what he did. But they have to pick at him. And he's about the only thing that I really want to give the city council credit for. They did a good job with that. And I will give my own city councilwoman, Coran, credit because she's very good on animal saving. And she and I are on the same page on that. But that was just almost disgusting to me. I couldn't believe she would even spend time about that, and that person would spend time criticizing the chief for doing that. They don't want him there, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. All these blue cities are ran by George Soros district attorneys, far left, progressive, other billionaire backers, and all the cities in the country are pretty much the same as Las Cruces. We're not really much different than Austin, Texas, or other major blue cities. I think the only hardcore red city in the country right now is Miami. I think Miami's fully red now. And I've heard Enrique Toro's testimony on that. It's pretty interesting. They go door to door over there still. Door to door is powerful, guys. Grassroots is so powerful. The reddest states in the country, Texas and Florida, are all about grassroots, guys. So if you really want a conservative state, you want a red New Mexico, you need to get involved with the Republican Party and you need to start registering Republicans or something to that extent because that's how they're doing it. That's how they got Miami to vote red. Anywho, all the other cities for that matter, are having the same issues. The city council don't support the chief of police. And if there is a chief of police there that they do support, he's in their pockets and he ain't doing nothing either. Like the chief of police of Albuquerque, that guy, he made a lot of mistakes and he finally resigned last week. He's gone. Yeah.
And they reelected the same mayor in Albuquerque, or did they? No, the same mayor in Albuquerque, as you know, is terrible on crime. It's just really bad.
Yeah, Darren conceded right away. Conceded the election. I'm like, man, why'd you do that? He did. From what I understand, he doesn't think that there's anything wrong with the elections. That I couldn't disagree with that anymore. I think you need to at least try to hold these people accountable for not following the law. At the very least, if you're a candidate and you feel like there's something going on with your election. And in his case, in the mayor of Albuquerque, I just don't think that there's that many dumb people. I think people really wanted a Republican mayor. I believe that the election had some issues, and I think that should have been investigated. But, I don't agree with every Republican on everything.
Did they have a good turnout for, their votership?
I don't know. I guess I'm just so jaded. I don't trust anything out of the state anymore.
Yeah, if we could just be convinced that our elections, because that's all I care. If we lose, we lose. Okay,
right,
we lose. Right. But there's no confidence in the system, and that's terrible.
It's terrible. If I didn't truly believe President Trump was going to be doing something about the elections this next year, 2026, I wouldn't even be involved in politics anymore, guys, because I've seen so many problems with the elections, and I've seen so many dreams be destroyed. I've invested my livelihood, money, everything, my spirit, to try to get certain candidates in there. Because I do understand this is life or death. These candidates are saving lives. They're saving children's lives. They're saving our life. And it's just to come down to basically our county clerk, our Secretary of State, who have no credibility with me. It's just sad that our elections come down to these types of people. I don't agree with it at all. There should be better checks and balances on this whole system.
Boy, that's the truth. Absolutely. But I did want to talk about that because that's like the big local issue, and there's some horrible things. I think I just posted. This just happened. Did you hear about this? There was a fatal shooting on Friday. Yeah. And so what I try to do on our Facebook site, I try to kind of give you the local stories.
Oh yeah. That reminded me that what was it, about a week ago, it came out and they had a picture of Fernando Macias, our district attorney out there. Teen arrests are way down, but teen violent crime is way up. So it's like, okay, you're telling me it's getting worse, and it is getting worse. And that's because we got a Democrat district attorney in there who we knew was not going to be prosecuting criminals. He had a history of being soft on crime back when it wasn't even cool. He was soft on crime. And here he is again being soft on crime. And these people just keep voting for these Democrats and expect change. It's like, dude, the only thing that's going to change is the severity of the crime. It's going to go worse. And that's what happened.
That's right.
That's what happened.
And also, just to kind of promote this too, on our Chips and Salsa Facebook site, I posted this, and it's Chief Story talking about, I think he's talking about that guy that was arrested so many times, but they let him go. And the judge said, I have to mention this too. When they were discussing, and I'm trying to remember who was saying this, and forgive me, but you can go back and you can actually watch this task force hearing. But one of the things is they were talking to the juveniles, and the guy was basically telling this person, maybe it was Crusaders for Justice, well, because what happens is if you're found incompetent, and correct me if I'm wrong, then you don't have to, they'll let you go.
Yep.
So the kid had already learned, you know what, I just go in there and they give me a puzzle, and so I pretend that I don't know how to put it together and let them go. They know the system.
Yep.
They know the system.
They caught his text messaging that, right? Or something like that. I think they went through his text and they saw that he was texting his buddies like, oh, yeah, let's go in there and act like I don't know what I'm doing and I'm off. I'll be out in a week.
And then you're done. So how are you ever going to get these?
It's crazy.
And it's helping. It's like helping them become criminals and furthering their criminal career. It's terrible. It's just really bad.
Well, the plan is to, destroy the community, destroy the economy, demoralize us, and get it to a point where we don't trust our own American, standardized government. We had to bring in the UN. That's just that's what the plan is, guys. It's a Cloward and Piven. These are strategies that have been implemented for years, and they're doing it here. They're doing it to us. Don't prosecute criminals. Let them run free. You're going to get in England. Look at England. If you want any bit of future of Las Cruces, look at England. Look at Germany. If you even criticize who did the graping, if you say what group or what faith they were, like who did the graping, you go to jail. Or if you were raped and you protest it, you go to jail. That recently happened where the assailant, the guy who did it, did less time than the victim because of what she said post incident. Oh,
you're reminding me too of something, and it might have been England.
Evil
what happens
stuff.
Is, what happened? The lady shot him or something.
Yeah.
And said, he wasn't doing it that bad. I mean, he didn't have to die.
It was his culture.
There's so many weird things you can't even keep up with them, and that's why I like to post them, because it's like I feel like I'm always doing a show. It's unbelievable. It's like, will you believe this? Believe it or not? Stuff like that. Blows my mind. Okay, we covered local, covered a little bit of state, we covered national, and we're probably not going to have another show until next year.
Next year, that's a couple weeks.
We'll do that, and but I want to say that this last year, it's kind of been a challenge. We've been jumping around. We've had some different locations for our podcast, but we really have been trying to keep it continuous, and we have great plans for next year as well. So we really do appreciate your loyalty and sticking with us. What are some of the, maybe we should do like an end of the year show too. I know what I want to ask you about. Is there any update on Judge Cano?
I haven't got any update on any of that. No.
Did he have his trial yet? Wasn't it?
I didn't hear any. I know the other judge who got in trouble at that time. Remember, she had let that ICE. She let that illegal immigrant out of court. She snuck him out the back when ICE was out there waiting for him.
Oh yeah.
She got 5 years, minimum 5 year sentence.
She should.
She got found guilty. So I don't think it looks too good for Judge Cano. I'd rather wait to see him get tried, and because I think there's some shaking up that's going to need to be going down in the DOJ. I would rather have that new DOJ deal with it, because I just don't want him to get off. And I really don't even care about Judge Cano as a person. I look at him as like, this is a constitutional crisis. We've got judges out there bringing in illegal aliens that are known terrorists and teaching them seemingly on military weapons tactics. That's a big problem. Irrespective of the man, if you knew him personally, cool. I mean, I'm sorry. But to take that out, look at the actual actions of that individual. Not good.
And that's where I have, when I look at the case and everything that's come out. Okay, he may not be a horrible, terrible person. Okay, I don't know. But just the things that actually happened as a judge, it was awful judgment. There was, I don't know if you remember Sheriff Babu, who was in Arizona, super popular conservative.
I think I remember talking about that. It's a gay dude, right?
Yes. And what he did, what they caught on his text, he was texting. his evidently gay, illegal lover. And I think, okay, all right, I don't care what you do. And that's not why that's not one of the reasons he got let go. But again, that's just horrible judgment, man. Keep that life private and keep other things private. And the dude was illegal because I have more of a problem with that. I don't care what he does. That's his sex life. It's none of my business what he does. But to do that on your phone, what is going on? And it's so sad because he was doing a really phenomenal, good job. It was so sad that had to happen.
I wouldn't like him anymore after I learned that because I know that the bigger plan is to have these illegals vote and vote us out, vote our rights as American citizens, our birthright, to get rid of us, to replace us. That's what they're here for. I'm sure some of these illegals are awesome. I've met a couple of awesome illegal people that they're working their face off. I get it, but they're being exploited, and they're here to destroy us, whether they know it or not. They're here to vote us out and to vote our, what we deserve out. We got to get rid of them, all of them, and we got to start over. But I am pro-immigration. I'm sure Alice is too. We both are. But
we always have been pro-legal immigration.
Pro-legal immigration.
We started this Chips and Salsa in Arizona in 1070. And that was our whole thing. Yeah, we'd have people on who had done it the right way, spent all that money, all that time and energy, and then we used to call it a slap in the face. Somebody just walks across, and then if worse, they're even more, do more criminalities. They belong to a gang or commit murder or things like that. That's even worse, of course. But just the fact, if you come to our country and don't do it the right way, that's illegal for you, and you are committing a crime.
I'd even be cool with them coming illegally and eventually working towards naturalization and getting naturalized. But that's not what we're getting anymore because that's the old school illegal immigrant, right? They kind of got in here,
they wanted to,
and then they got naturalized, however which way, and that's cool because that's just kind of an American dream kind of a story. But what we got, these guys are coming over here so privileged and entitled, and they hate this country, and they burn our flag, and they promote the Mexican flag, and it's just like, what are you guys doing over here, bro?
And the fraud that's committed, the Democrats, oh, no, that's not happening. And then, boom, here's a story the next day. Boom. Yeah, it was happening. Here's the proof. Here's the proof. And, wow, I don't know, man.
It's ridiculous, right? I mean, it's all this stuff that's going on right in front of our face. But, hey, mark my words, guys, this year, 2026 is going to be crazy because if you knew anything about Agenda 2030, they wanted a lot of the population of the world gone by 2030. Well, that got stymied. And you can criticize President Trump all you want. He's gotten us all out of that Green New Deal stuff, all that World Health Organization. He's gotten us out of all that stuff. Had Kamala Harris gotten in there, we would be just like England and Canada right now. So that's been stymied. But these other countries around the world are following through with the plan. Even if Trump won, that doesn't stop them. They're going to go through with this hardcore 2030 agenda. And so that being said, within the next few years, if we're going to really counter this globalist movement to basically destroy our constitutional rights, we're going to have to go through some stuff, guys. It's going to be a crazy year, these next few years, all the way up until 2030 or beyond. It's like this is a whole new way of looking at life. We're shedding lights on aspects of our society and our way of life that we never thought we'd have shed light on. And a lot of people don't like it. People have been doing the same thing for a long time and get paid very well to do that same thing for a long time. And so here we are, just lovers of truth, trying to hold our government accountable, trying to get the government out of our lives so we can be free. And it just happens to be that we gotta like get a lot of people out of these institutions. I keep going back to that, but I'm just telling you guys, these institutions are overridden, guys. We really need your help. But that's what's going on. The Agenda 2030 is still in effect around the world. Not so much here, obviously, because of President Trump. But if we're gonna save anyone else, we gotta look inside and save ourselves first, right?
And you said 2030. It's
Agenda 2030. Yeah, check that out.
Next year, 2026. So that's 4 years.
4 years. They wanted, I think they said they wanted like 80 to 90% of the population gone by 2030.
You know what else is coming out more and more are things
Something
about
like
the
that.
what do you like to call that?
You can say whatever. Yeah, you can say whatever. Jabberooski. You can say, yeah, that's all coming out now too. Great point.
There's so many things coming out. There was an article today and it talked about cardiomyopathy. I think I said that correctly.
That's right, yes.
In younger men. I spoke to someone who recently has lost their loved one to Alzheimer's.
Oh, no.
And the sad thing is they had spoken to a doctor, and the doctor was admitting, and this is what is interesting to me, saying, I don't know if the doctor had read a study or just recently learned that it looks like people that had maybe taken that Jabberooski there's more incidents of those
exacerbated
things.
it, or
Yeah, and it really could be. It really could be, and how sad is that? But the good thing is the information is coming out as it should be. It really should be. And this person, unfortunately, their loved one had taken it, and you can't blame them, because when it came out, it scared the hell out of everybody.
Was incredible.
Especially if you were an older person. And I'm thinking, boy, they wanted to save a lot of Social Security money.
Insecure, yeah. I mean, insecure about your health at all. You're going to listen to the government, Big Daddy government, and you're going to take their advice. And so those are the two big things I think that for humanity we really need to uncover. And I don't think they're going to let us uncover that without some pain, as is the elections. We're going to go through that early this year. We're going to go through that early this year with President Trump's 2020 election. And I think with that, it's going to set precedent for the rest of the country that we've got to get rid of the machines. We've got to get rid of mail-in ballots. That's going to be hard because they really hate us talking about that. I mean, that's just, you're over the target if you're talking about election integrity. They hammer you. So thank you, Alice, for helping us do this show and letting us talk about that on this platform. And the other thing is the Jabberooski. They don't like you talking about that either. And me and you talk about that all the time. So you're in the right place, guys.
and one more thing that I know people don't like to talk about either sometimes is the pro-life.
That's right. That's a big one too. Those three things right there are like big time. And we're big on all three of those. Absolutely.
Absolutely huge. And that's another thing. It's going to be a big deal here. And I'm still doing, I hate knowing this information, but here in our little community of Las Cruces, there are 4 clinics. 4. And they want to do the 5th one, which they haven't done any more progress on.
4 non-life pro clinics.
Okay.
4 anti-life clinics.
Yeah, interesting. But I just want to say, if you're interested in helping out with that movement at all, please contact me, because there are a lot of things that you can do that I think are effective. And one of them is to educate people, and the same thing too. I tell people, New Mexico, there are no limits. Oops, I said the word. There are no limits. Okay.
I'll edit it.
No limits at all on that. They don't believe me, but check it out. And it's really true. There are no limits. So that's what I'm going to say, because I want to and I have to. And
that's what it is.
Podcast.
And it's our own show. We do whatever we want. We're going to be on Rumble here soon too, and be on all platforms. It's going to be kick-ass. Omnipresence we will have. But for the whole pro-life thing, guys, you just got to look into who's funding it, especially here in New Mexico. Who is funding it? Is it the Satanic Temple? You tell me. Why would you want to be involved with something that has that type of energy with it? That should tell you everything.
And I'll tell you,
it's not for women's rights.
Talking about energy. So when I'm doing my prayer warrior thing in front of these places, the people that come into work, they look so angry. They don't look like they have joy in their lives. And we're pretty good. We get, 90%, we get thumbs ups and honks. But every once in a while, there's people and they're just giving us the finger and yelling at us. And what freaks me out, Zeke, is they're like little old ladies that you would think they'd never be able to say the F word. But man, they sure can at us.
Those boomers.
They can't. So please pray for them. Please, because
right.
I do. When they pass me, I say the sign of the cross and I say a prayer for them, because they need it. They are so unhappy. They really are. So that's... We're kind of down to the bottom part of our show. Yeah. What have we missed?
I think we kind of hit everything. I mean, it's I'll say this real quick about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't like that President Trump. We don't have any more MAGA, America First congressmen anymore. I think Matt Gaetz is gone. Marjorie Taylor Greene is gone.
You know who else is stepping down too?
Who's that?
Miss Kennedy. I love that Senator Kennedy talks like this.
Oh yeah,
because he's going to run for lieutenant governor of Georgia, which is great.
That's good. Yeah.
That's great. But you're right.
So I don't like that. President Trump was throwing her under the bus so hard. I don't think, on the face of it, it's the smartest thing to do, because she's awesome. I love Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Very popular.
Love her to death. But I hear, and this is just my own spin on things. I understand the art of the war. The art of war says you got to look weak when you're strong. I think Trump is purposefully throwing her under the bus to show a sign of weakness. And I think ultimately this is all going to be reversed into pure strength in the near future. And I think that she's probably leaving to go help the America First agenda even more outside of Congress. Because as Congress, she'll tell you, she tells us, you're limited there.
That's why she said she left.
You're limited. There's only so much you can do. Her outside of Congress, I think, and I know she can be way more powerful for the America First MAGA movement than her being in Congress. And we can find another good congresswoman in that area to replace her. And, it's not a big deal. We're going to get a whole slew of new MAGA candidates in there this year as well as next coming year. So hang in there, guys. I haven't lost my faith on President Trump. I think ultimately we have hardcore strength. They just don't show it. We can't show it. We got to show weakness because it helps us throw off the enemy. And I personally think that's what's going on right now. But people would disagree with me.
I hope that you're right. I like that theory. The last time we talked about her, my problem was they've elected you to be in that position. I think you should fulfill your thing and stay there. I really do. And I understand. And you might be right too. She might be more effective on the outside. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm conflicted.
Yeah, don't pull out the fight right now. I don't agree with that
conflicted.
either. It's a great point.
But
we need her now and there more than ever if you think about it because the majority is not that strong.
But she's not going away. She isn't. I told you the story, and that was at the America Fest a couple of years ago, in that big long line. I went, who's everybody waiting for? It was because she had just written her book, and they were waiting in line to get the book autographed. Super popular lady, unafraid to speak her mind, and you got to respect that.
Yeah, guys. I mean, we're just people that want fair elections. All right, we want safer streets. We want better education for our kids. We want less government, less taxes. This is all common sense, reasonable stuff. So it always blows my mind when people want to attack me for being a hardcore Republican or extremist or whatever, or Alice, for that matter, because we both have very similar philosophies. Because we're just common people that are trying to do common sense things for our community. All right, I'm not radical, anything beyond that. I mean, I have my own personal opinions and philosophies, but ultimately, I'm a utilitarian. I'm someone who wants to think about things in the way of bringing about the greatest good possible. The greater good, guys. God, life, joy, and that comes with a lot of really hard work. It's really hard to keep a stable society together. That's why only Christian societies through history have been the only ones been able to do it. Look at Africa. The only countries that do good in Africa are the ones who become Christian focused, Christian oriented. All these other, global governments, social political philosophies, they fail, especially communism. Christian fundamentalist Christian countries, nations always do the best because it just works. It's the best plan. That's why I'm a Christian, because I believe in it and I love it so much. I love God and I love Jesus.
Someone asked me the other day, and they said, what do you think is the biggest problem in our country? And I said, what the biggest problem is there's not enough, we don't have enough God anymore in our lives.
That's so true.
It really is. Because if that happens, I was just watching Bartiromo today, and Cardinal Dolan is retiring. And she told this beautiful story. So if you haven't watched it, go back and watch the show. And, keep God in your heart was the message. And that's really true. Because if you have that, that's what you need. Because we want justice, we want goodness, we want truth. And that's in love, and that's peace.
Those are all from the Bible. Mm-hmm. All from the Bible. The British law, common law, that's what we base our Constitution off of. Fairness, equality, it's all biblical. And so we have to understand that and honor that to get to the next level. That's what this whole test is, in my opinion, is that we have to find God, a person on an individual basis and as a collective conscious basis. We have to find God and keep God top. When we had God at the top, we had that deal with God, that contract with God. Look at this freedom that we made in this country. Look at what we were able to achieve, beat the greatest army in the world. That's right. We have to get back to that to get to the next level, which could be getting to Mars, getting to the moon. Who knows? With whatever God wants, but the way it is now with this global government, guys, trying to implement global government and circumvent our God-given birthright to freedom, that's not going to work. We're not going to let that happen. Right, Alice?
Nope. We're going to do everything we can. We really are. And on that, why don't you close the show with your beautiful prayer?
Sure. Lord, thank you so much for once again bringing me and Alice here together on behalf of the community of Las Cruces to share truth, love, and light in your way, Lord, so we can get more people to live for you, God, to live for what we know brings about prosperity, so we can protect the children, protect our fellow brothers and sisters, and so we can pray for our enemies as well, Lord. A lot of this is praying for our enemy because we do have a lot of enemies. A lot of people don't even know that they are against you, Lord, and we pray for them. We pray that you find a place in their heart, and I just pray that you continue to give us the strength and the energy that we need to keep fighting for you, Lord, because this is a big battle, and I pray that more people get involved with the Republican Party and more people champion truth and accountability so that we can have a better future with you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Nicely done as always. Well, another edition of the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
See you next year.